Hi, I'm Anna of All Trades, and this is one of my very best friends, Kate, the modern day settler, and she is here to talk about trimming goat hooves and general plans on the homestead. Time for a little trim of the hooves. Yay! Here we go. Okay, so what are we looking for when we're clipping goat hooves?
So one thing that you pretty much want to prevent is any kind of the sidewall. You can see how these look really good, but what will happen is when they get too long, they will actually start to curl over the sole, and that's what you want to get rid of. The sides here should be flush with the sole, and then you have the soft heel back here, but you want that to be flat as well, and then they should have a nice squarish shape. So if they were really packed like with mud or whatever, you would use the brush to get anything out, and then if you had stuff really packed in there, especially when the sides sometimes they get so long, the mud can actually pack in the side and wedge itself in between the sole and the hoof wall, and it can cause hoof separation and hoof rot, which is a no-no. So then you just want to use the clippers to trim this long stuff here that's around the edges.
Also, for all this stuff down below, you can get it on Amazon. And I also just want to give a little self-promotion here that we are using the goat stanchion that I built using just a pellet and some random scraps we found around the farm. So click the link below to see that video as well if you're interested.
And another thing you just want to really be kind of conscious of, it's like with any animal or even people, you can cut too short and hit blood vessels. So you can see when they're still white here, that's pretty much like the growth rings of the hoof. So you're still in good. You're not into any vascular material or blood vessels or whatever there. And then the soft hoof is, people get really nervous about cutting this, but it's
basically a callus, right?
Yeah, you just want it to be flush. You know, not sometimes if they get neglected, they can get really big and overgrown, and then you just want to trim it back.
A lot of people are really intimidated about clipping their goat's feet, but it really is not that hard once you know what you're looking for, and that's exactly why I wanted someone like Kate to give us a few pointers there. The main reason that you want to be able to do this yourself is because not only does it build relationship with your animals, but I mean, it's also just a good way to save a whole lot of money because it's something that needs to happen every month at the very least. Whether you have a lot of goats or a few, you don't want to have to pay someone to come out every couple weeks to do this. On the dew claw, do you do anything with this?
I've never had to. If they do get really long and start to curl, you know, you can trim them back a little bit. It's just one of those things that you just kind of do as needed and much less frequently.
While I'm doing this, can you tell me a few more, just of like your favorite goat tips or goat products? I know you're the one who turned me on to Reprimand Gel.
So the Reprimand Gel is probably, I wouldn't say a cure-all because nothing's a cure-all, but it's definitely the top preventative maintenance ration I give them, just because I live in a selenium and copper deficient area, which can just wreak havoc on reproductive and fertility, which obviously when you have dairy goats, you need them to be bred. The Molly's Herbals pregnancy tonic is something that I have used with all my pregnant does, and that's just fantastic.
I'll put links to all of our favorite goat products down below, not because we're getting paid to use them, but because we genuinely just want to create helpful educational content for people interested in doing the same things that we are. I will also have a link to Kate's website, which is extremely informative. She is a fantastic writer, absolutely hilarious, delightful photographer, and just has so much helpful information about how to properly care for your animals, how to cook using vegetables you grow yourself, and all kinds of other stuff.
I also have a full post on goat trimming hooves too.
Look at you go! One product that Kate actually taught me about was the Pregtone, and that's a simple sonogram for testing goats whether they're pregnant. We had Brenda bred before we left because we wanted to keep our herd closed after arriving in Nashville for a period of time, and so because we rely on these animals for milk, we wanted to make sure we had babies and milk ready for us once we got to Nashville. She's about a month away from kidding right now, so this is a perfect time to test And at this point, we can actually already even see that she is in fact pregnant. We can feel the babies moving. I would also love to give a huge shout out to NASCO for sending this preg tone to us so that we could use it for educational purposes on our farm. So here we've got a nicely shaved spot where we can do a skin to skin connection. Then we use oil to make sure that that connection stays. 1 beat means that it's making solid skin contact, and a solid beat means that it is detecting amniotic fluid.
So just make sure that you're pointing it towards like her front left shoulder so that you're getting the uterus, because if you go up or back, you could accidentally hit the bladder. So see, it's at that perfect angle.
Yep.
Right at the uterus.
And look, do you see the babies moving too? Oh, they're really moving too. Congratulations, Brenda Lee, you are in fact pregnant.
With multiple children, hopefully.
I mean, hopefully.
It is, I think she's a first freshener.
Yeah, she's
Her udder would not be developing so young, early.
Because we just moved these animals across the country, any pre-existing conditions or any extra stresses that have happened will be really exacerbated by the move. I noticed the other day that her coat was starting to come out a little bit, and it's not a huge concern. She's actually probably mostly shedding her winter coat. But one good thing with goats is to just give them a little shot of vitamin B every once in a while when they need it. So Kate is here to talk to us about subcutaneous shots. That means below the skin or into the skin.
So with a subcutaneous shot, like you said, it's below the skin. So what you want to do is kind of feel for where you can get a good grab of skin, which is usually up by the front shoulder. Grab the skin, and then you just have to be careful that when you poke the needle through, you don't go through both sides of the skin and go out. You just want to get through that first side, essentially, and then give her the shot, and then her body will absorb it.
You're okay, buddy. You're okay. You're okay. You're okay. You're okay. You're a very good girl. You're a girl. Very good girl. You're a good girl. That's going to help you feel so much better, huh, buddy? Yes. All right. You're all done. I know. Come on. Here we go. Make sure that you go and check Kate out, themodernDaySettler.com. Thank you, Kate, so much for sharing your time and your knowledge, and also for coming to visit me. You're my first guest at our new Nashville house.
Bonus points.
I hope you leave this video feeling challenged, inspired, and excited to get outside and to do things with your own hands as well. Cheers. But anyway, make sure that you put that away. Step 1, we use Adam's razor to shave her. Don't tell him, but this really is his razor.
Basically.
So in theory, could we put it on Dolly Parton's udder and detect that she is in fact in milk?
I've never tested it, but maybe.
You're such a good girl too. Also, I feel so bad because she's actually much smaller than our other goats, so she had to get a little stool to reach the feed bin.